Level up your LA Kings experience with Vivid Seats Elite Seats. All the on-ice Kings action with even more exclusive access and rewards. Enjoy great seats to the game in Section 103 along with Yamava Club access and parking included with your purchase. Plus, get a free Team LA Kings shop item at the game. Score your Vivid Seats Elite Seats tickets today and earn perks on each purchase from the only leading ticket company with a rewards program. Experience it live with Vivid Seats, the official partner of the LA Kings. Did you know the LA Kings have their own culinary partner? It's Superfood, celebrating 10 years and over 1 million meals served. Since 2020, the Kings have trusted Superfood to fuel their players. Now through Simply Lunch, you can bring that same performance-driven food to your office. Because when people eat better, they work better. Visit mysuperfood.com. That's mysuperfd.com. Or call 213-973-6145. Qualified companies can enjoy a free lunch for up to 10 managers.
You're listening to All the Kings Men, the official podcast of the LA Kings. Now, here's your host, Jesse Cohen.
Welcome back, Kings fans. Another episode of All the Kings Men. I'm Jesse Cohen. Joining me today, Zach Dooley. How are you doing today, Zach?
Jesse, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good.
You're being
featured.
You look great.
Yeah, well, I finally gave up on the growing out the hair thing. So we're doing the season-long awards that they do every year, the team awards. We're not going to talk about the rest of the league. This might be the hardest one you and I have done together, just because this year has been so confounding. And I think if you asked any of the management or players, they would say disappointing. It's not over yet. The Kings, we're recording this the morning after the victory over Nashville. So nothing is decided, but even if they do qualify for a playoff spot, I think this season would, it's a regression from last year.
Even if they win out, they make the playoffs,
Yeah.
The regular season would be at best, I think, a double-digit point regression.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say the regular season for sure has been disappointing. If they get in, they're at the same spot they've been for 4 years, which would be in the first round and with an opportunity to win. So you never know.
Yeah.
Certainly as a whole, this has not met expectations. So yeah, I think that everyone involved would use that word for the
As of
season.
this morning, Tuesday, April 7th, the most points they can win is 93.
93, yeah.
Last year they had 105. So yeah, you're right, double digit.
So at best,
regression,
it's a 12-point drop.
But nonetheless, awards exist and are to be awarded. So let's just dive into the four. We'll start out with the four that the media vote on. And I guess we'll start with the MVP. I think that'll be the broadest conversation. So who have you got for MVP?
I have Adrian Kempe.
I also have Adrian Kempe. We might as well just talk about Adrian Kempe.
Now, so I went in and did a very deep dive to support, I think, the most obvious vote that's available. He wins the award because he's been the best player on the team over the course of the season, and I don't think it's even been all that close.
Yeah.
However, Adrian Kempe's offensive production this year has contributed to so many points directly. And I just went down the list. At Minnesota in October, third period game-tying goal, lost in overtime, 1 point. St. Louis, the Kings won 2-1. He had the game-winning goal and an assist. Dallas, game-winning goal, overtime win. At San Jose, game-tying goal in the third period, overtime loss. Versus Vancouver, game-winning goal, overtime win. Versus Calgary, the only goal in a 2-1 overtime loss. At Tampa Bay, 2 goals and a 2-1 regulation win. At Anaheim, 1 goal and a 2-1 overtime loss. At Philadelphia, 2 goals and an assist in a 3-2 overtime win. At Columbus, game-winning goal in overtime. Versus St. Louis, a goal in a 2-1 overtime win. That right there is 14 points in the standings that do not happen without
I'm going to do you one better because they wouldn't have shown up on that. The goal that he scored in the shootout last night against Nashville doesn't show up in his stats.
But it's a game decider, right?
And he had plenty of shootout goals.
Yes.
That just don't count.
And you just look at where would the Kings be without Adrian Kempe? Frankly, they'd probably be in the draft lottery.
Probably. He leads the team in goals and points and assists. I think there's not in a season where the team has struggled to score.
Yes. And
he's a 30-goal scorer again, and the season's not done yet. He could finish with 35 or possibly more. He is, and he signs the contract.
Yeah.
He wears a letter. Jeannot departs, and he takes on presumably a larger role in the leadership group. Yeah, there's all sorts of reasons for Kempe to be the winner of this award.
I just wanted to say that. all that. I just wanted to do that.
There's a lot more.
I think it's so obvious
yeah.
why he would win it. But I was just thinking about it the other day of like, man, like this guy just scores in overtime all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he scores these big goals in low-scoring games, and he does it on a team that hasn't scored very much all year. He's having another really strong year. He's going to have 30 and 70, most likely, assuming he doesn't crater down the stretch. Like, just a really good year in a tough season for the team.
And there have been a number of games also where early in the season or late in the season where the Kings had to overcome deficits. Early in the season it was like 3-0 leads, and they were coming back and getting those points.
That's that Minnesota game, right? Yeah, it was 3-0, then they tied it.
Recently there was the Toronto and the first Nashville game. Mm-hmm. He is frequently the guy that scores the first goal of the comeback.
A lot.
Or the guy that scores the goal that ties the game, and then more goals are scored. So, yes, he is. I mean, obviously, he scores the most goals, so he's bound to be involved in these conversations. But, yeah, Adrian Kempe, I think, unanimously.
Yeah.
If it's not unanimous, this should be the most unanimous of the 4 awards.
I don't know how you can really make all that many cases for other guys. Like, if you want to go sentimental for Anze Kopitar, who's having a nice year and a really nice finish in his last year, you say, okay, he's the most valuable because of how inspirational or whatever it is, fine. But Adrian Kempe, I think, I have a hard time seeing him not being, unanimous for the MVP.
Kopitar, and we'll talk about him later.
Yeah.
It would be, like you said, it would be a nice sentimental pick to give him an award, but fewer than half the goals Adrian Kempe has, half the points. He missed time with injuries, not his fault, but it did happen. He does lead the team in plus minus. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So Adrian Kempe is the MVP, and that one's pretty clear. Let's move on to newcomer then. And so I had some conversations with other members of the media who remembered a day when there was a games limit put on who you could vote for. We're not respecting any games limits on this one, and I think you and I have the same player, so we'll start with you for best newcomer.
I'm going to go with Artemi Panarin.
I am also going with Artemi Panarin.
I think that there were 3 legitimate options here, one of whom got traded to Tampa Bay at the deadline, he's probably out, which means it's either Joel Armia or Artemi Panarin, for me at least. And Joel Armia is having an excellent year. We might even talk about him maybe a little later in the program. But to be a guy who joined the team in February and is voted best newcomer for entire season, you have to be transformational. And your individual play has to transform, in my opinion, how the team has played. And Artemi Panarin, I think, has done that. The power play with Panarin versus the power play without Panarin looks like 2 completely separate teams. The team's offensive play with Panarin versus without, 2 completely separate teams. Kings games are averaging more than a full goal more per game, both for and against, since Panarin joined. That is unbelievable. Like how much higher event the Kings have been with Panarin. He is deadly in overtime. He's lethal in the shootout. Like he impacts every element of the game, and he's producing at a clip that we haven't seen from a Kings player in a long time, right? He's well over a point per game. Kempe's numbers are up, and they were already good since Panarin has joined. The 2 of them are going to be a dynamic combination next year, as they already have been this year. He has just been, I think, so good, and I'm excited to see what he can do over 82 games.
I agree with everything you just said. 2 things. One, Panarin makes other players more dynamic.
100%.
Like Brant Clark on the ice with Artemi Panarin. Brant Clark is never not dangerous, but with Artemi Panarin, you're just exponentially increasing your options. Secondly, last year, I was making a bunch of comments about, Andrei Kuzmenko. If you remove the playoff runs from the Jeff Carter and Marian Gaborik acquisitions, if you're just looking at regular season impact. Last year, I was like, I don't know. Andrei Kuzmenko might be the best trade deadline pickup that I can remember. Usually historically, Kings trade deadline pickups have not fared terribly well. Carter and Gaborik obviously led to cup runs, but Kuzmenko came in and scored 17 points in 22 games. Well, Artemi Panarin has, if I can find it here real quickly, 23 points in 21 games. So I don't think you can argue that Artemi Panarin has been a more effective, more potent offensively pickup than Andrei Kuzmenko was last year. And it's kind of stunning that 2 years in a row, the Kings have gone out and got a Russian right shooting winger who have become, honestly, 2 of the best trade deadline pickups. And Yeah, when I think of best newcomer, usually in my mind the award goes to a guy who was acquired in the free agency.
Totally. Or a trade in the summer or something like that.
But who comes in the summer and plays a full season.
Mm-hmm.
But Artemi Panarin's been just that good. And Corey Perry's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And Armia, like you said, is then having a great season.
Yep.
But Panarin's already got, I think he has more points than him, right?
It's probably close.
It's very close. Sorry, Armia has 24 points. Panarin has 21 or 20. What did I say?
23.
23, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're neck and neck. But yeah, Panarin's, and I will continue to say this, I just think he's the best winger they've had maybe in my lifetime. Or if not best, just most dynamic. He's the only player like him they've had at wing.
Yeah.
In my lifetime as a Kings fan.
It's so much fun to watch too.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
I mean, if nothing else, the team has been so much more enjoyable to watch play, and a large part of that I think has been Panarin's impact. Like he's just that good.
Yeah. Prior to his arrival, for the last 5 or 6 years, maybe once in a while you'd get a goal where you were like, wow, tic-tac-toe, highlight reel, that's going at the end of the year, montage or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly it was grinded out, net front, the Deneau Moore, Arvidsson goals.
Simple style,
like 2
shoot
feet
it,
away.
get it back, deflected, screen.
Yeah, but then, you see Panarin, Kempe, and Kopitar, and I mean, he's only got 5 goals, but his assists, his goals, they are more aesthetically pleasing.
Not to mention, I think the best shootout goal I've ever seen since I've worked here.
Yes, yeah. Which
the Calgary one,
I was sort of stunned at how many people didn't immediately think of Pavel Datsyuk.
That's exactly what I thought.
That's what same. I was like shades of Pavel Datsyuk
in that game against
yeah. And then I saw a bunch of reactions like, "Oh my God, can you do that?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Pavel
people have been doing that for 30 years. It's rare, it's hard, but
because it is so difficult.
Yeah, but it's definitely been done.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. All right, so we're 2 for 2 on agreements, MVP and newcomer. Let's go to best defenseman.
So I selected Brent Clark.
I also have Brent Clark, so we're 3 for 3.
I think this is one where maybe the eye test just kind of speaks for itself, but I'm going to offer 2 stats that do not include the Nashville game where Brent Clark had, I think, 7 block shots, but I'm going to give the numbers I had before the Nashville game, which is that Brent Clark is 9th in the NHL in block shots among all defensemen in the league, and the LA Kings control 55% of shots on goal when Clark is on the ice. I hate how block shots gets used in certain contexts to describe a good defenseman.
Sure.
Because a lot of times the block shots leaders are simply in their own zone for 65% of the game. So they better be blocking shots because they're not, they're always in the defensive zone.
Yeah.
Clark is blocking shots while spending more time in the offensive zone. He's making things happen. He has 39 points. He is among the team leaders in percentage of shots on goal and chances controlled while he is on the ice. So he's doing all these good things, but he still rates so highly in block shots. And in that context, to me, block shots is a positive stat because he's not getting caved in. He's just...
What did you say? It was 9th?
9th in the league
So I stumbled onto this stat a few weeks ago.
Among defensemen only.
Yes. Yeah. And took it another step, and I just looked it up now to see because I haven't been tracking it I stumbled onto it a few weeks ago. Most of the names on that list, 1 through 8, are guys that kill penalties.
Correct.
Brent Clark does not kill penalties. And so at 5-on-5, Brent Clark is first in the league.
That's a great pull. Yeah, great pull.
In fact, not only defensemen, or no, it is defenseman. Sorry, I corrected my list. But like that's psychotic for a guy. Yeah. Now he doesn't have, I was looking at who leads the league in points recently among defensemen.
Yeah.
And there are some
staggering totals.
Yeah, there's some huge, and like from names that I would not, like Evan Bouchard. I had heard people talk about whether or not he should win the Norris, and I rolled my eyes and was like, okay, how many points can he have? And then I looked at it.
You're like, holy crap.
Yeah, it was like 87 or something. Yeah. Like, oh my God. Okay, that's insane. So Brant Clark obviously isn't having that kind of an offensive season, but for the Kings, he is leading the team in scoring among defensemen. He is not leading the team in plus minus among defensemen. That's Edmondson, his partner.
Yeah.
But the block shots, the points, the added responsibility on the power play, and just really It's more about the growth in his game.
100%.
Like,
yeah.
They're not going to put him on the penalty kill. I think they probably could. I understand why for the last 2 months they haven't wanted to, interject any sort of new variables when they're trying so hard to get this playoff spot. But I would not be surprised if next year we start to see him getting penalty kill time. He is 6'2". People complain about his size, but I don't think it's really that big a deal. And he's getting better with his stick. He's getting better with his gap control. You've pointed out a number of times this year his ability to break up 2-on-1s and odd man rushes. I mean, he's just getting a lot better. And I don't think there's any argument that right now he is the most versatile defenseman on the Kings blue line.
100%. I mean, you just look at all the different ways he impacts games. I think for sure he has that. And I don't think we've seen the best of him either. I think there's a lot more to come. He produced, you talk about the point totals, and he produced those numbers on a team that plays defense, right? That for 60 games, they were winning 2-1. So how many points are you going to get when you win 2-1 or lose 2-1 every night? Yeah. So like maybe in a different system with more chances to activate. He plays a full year with Panarin. Like when that line and that pair are on the ice, the Kings are always buzzing around the O-zone. I think there's a higher point total to come for him. I think there's more defensive responsibility to come for him, and he's being utilized way more this year, no doubt about that. But they haven't even fully, I don't think, leaned into him in what he is capable of handling.
He's one of those players that causes me to... So as a fan, I have these emotional reactions to what I think should or what I want to see happen. He's one of those players that makes me go, maybe you're wrong. Because, like, as a fan, I'm like, oh, Brant Clark, amazing. He should be playing 30 minutes a night. Get him out there. Turn him into Erik Karlsson. Like, incredible. Then I look at him and I go, oh, he's 22. And my entire life, I have heard and repeated and believed the idea that defensemen develop slower than forwards. And 22, generally speaking, I would expect a defensive prospect to start cracking the lineup.
Yeah.
Like, there are guys in Ontario who are older than him.
Right.
Who I'm like, oh, they're going to be something, any day now.
Just give him a couple more years.
Fantastic. Yeah. Like, great. I'm so excited to see Angus Booth and Kirill Kirsanov and like all these guys. And then I look at Clark and I'm like, oh, he's only 22. And I get it. That's sooner than later, that's not young anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like, so before you know it, you're 24, you're 25, and you're not young. Your career is now the average length of a career. But yeah, at 22, I'm like, oh, there actually is more to him, and he is young enough that we actually might see that ceiling reached. And so I have to like calm myself down and remind myself that, occasionally my emotions might override my senses.
If the Kings were still playing him 13 minutes a game, it would be a problem. He's getting 20 most nights. And even if we might say, okay, I think he's capable of 25 most nights, or maybe it's like he should be on the ice more with a minute 30 left up a goal, or he should be killing penalties, or he should be XYZ. Like, his role has taken a big step forward. And I would agree. I think there's even more to come.
And it's not like he never plays 25 a night.
It's happened.
Sometimes he does.
And
he's averaging 20, give or take, 1938, I think, or 1940.
When the Kings are down, he's going to play. He might lead the team in minutes. When the Kings are up.
Or someone's hurt.
Someone's hurt. He's played more. Yeah.
All right, that brings us, and this may be the one. Now, given that we've gone through the last three, I think we're probably going to agree on this one too. And that is best defensive player.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess you're going with Armia.
I'm going to pick Armia.
I also picked Armia. And as I said to you before we hit record, sorry to jump.
No, you're good.
For me, the pick is more about just getting his name in the conversation and needing a way to talk about him and needing a way to talk about a fourth person rather than just repeating one of the guys we've already talked about.
And honestly, a little bit of it is in a different year, I don't even consider him.
Yeah.
And like, it's not Brant Clark's fault that he doesn't kill penalties, but he doesn't. I looked at Anze Kopitar here because his goals against is the best on the team by far. And it could have been a way to mention him as well.
Yep.
But I picked Armia. I think it's mostly because of his shorthanded prowess, if not exclusively. Like,
he's second in the league in shorthanded goals, which is a cheap reason to pick a guy, but it's what I'm leaning on.
But like, that is a defensive play, in my opinion. Like, if you score, he's been on the ice for 5 shorthanded goals, scored 4 of them. Like, that is defense. Like, if you're flipping the script while you're shorthanded and scoring that often, like, Like, I expected him to be a good PK guy, a good fourth-line player. He's just been so much more than that, right? If you look at the guys who kill penalties for the Kings, Armia second on the team in PK goals against per 60. The only player better is Brian Dumoulin.
Right.
He scored the 4 shorthanded goals, tied for second in the league. He's only been on the ice for 8 against. And his shorthanded goal share, second in the league, behind only Seth Jarvis, who's an elite player, 5th in expected goal share while shorthanded. So it's not like he just gets these and he's shipping out goals while he's on the ice. Like, he's the best forward in the team goals against. He's obviously the best forward in the team goals for. In PK situations, for a team that has not been very good on the penalty kill this year, they'd be that much worse if he wasn't here. I just think that merits something on a year where no one else has like really stood out as being like, among the D and the goaltenders, like the obvious pick.
My only gripe with his penalty killing, and it is not his fault, is that he's not
used more.
Yeah. Like, he's not the first guy over the boards, which I think is psychotic, because even in the midst of a season where he was having a very good penalty killing year after being one of the preeminent penalty killers for the last few years, then he goes to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And what does he do? He scores a shorthanded goal in the Olympics. And so we're recording this the morning after the shootout win against Nashville. The goal he scored against Nashville, in theory, is not a defensive play because it happened in the offensive zone and was a goal. And yet,
it was
the move that he made in the neutral zone,
yes,
just north of the blue line. Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah.
Just on the, in the neutral zone on the other side of the blue line to poke check that puck off of the Nashville player. I don't even know who it was.
Yeah.
And just create an entire zone's worth of space for himself to operate
while having the awareness to delay his entry till both his teammates came back to get on sides.
That is a defensive, and I think that's why it is important to differentiate best defenseman from best defensive player, because the neutral zone, yes, the defensive zone is where most of the defense happens, but it is a 3-zone sport, as much as some people would like to ignore that, and the neutral zone is a huge part of defending, and that was an incredible neutral zone play by Yoel Armia, and he does it all the time. I mean, that's honestly, it might be his neutral zone play that it makes him so incredible. Penalty kill and otherwise, he's just constantly making turnovers. And and really, this was just an excuse to talk about him, because what a pickup.
Joel Armia, man, good player. One of the best value signings, I think, in the league in the summer. I mean, he's under $3 million to give you that kind of play. He's been really good, and he would have been the best newcomer. If the Kings didn't acquire, in which case I might have had to have come up with someone else to talk about.
It's so funny because like last year they had Fogel. This year they have Armia. Last year they had Kuzmenko. This year they had Panarin, and yet the seasons have gone so completely differently. So those are the 4 awards that the media vote on. The ones we don't have any say in, but I think would be an interesting conversation. Most inspirational.
I can almost guarantee that Anze Kopitar will win this year. I think, his last year, it's a rallying cry for the guys, right? Like, the team has underperformed, but they have this storyline to get Kopitar into the playoffs, kind of give him the meaningful games he deserves at the end of his career. I'd be shocked if he didn't win it. Considering the circumstances, and it'll be deserved. Like, that's clearly that storyline that's like, you can't quantify it, but like, is something helping to drive it, and I think that's probably it.
The audio captured on the celebration when he passed Marcel Dion as the leading scorer in franchise history. You could hear Brant Clark. And just the excitement in his voice assures me that will be the winner. Like that's probably right. Here's a weird one, and I'm not sure, like, this one is sort of almost as difficult as the MVP without having an obvious choice, and that's unsung hero. Because this year feels like a year where the heroes are the guys that are generally unsung. So do you have a thought on unsung hero?
I have 2. If I were voting, I would select Alex Laferriere.
Okay.
I think he has been, other than Kempe, the team's most consistent player from game 1 through game whatever we're at now, 77. He's tied his career high in goals, likely will set it if he can bury one more in the final 5 games. In a season of inconsistency, he has been so consistent, in my opinion, He's rarely taken a night off. He played center when guys were out. He improved his faceoffs. He's killed penalties, which he didn't do last year. He just keeps taking on more and more. The other night, he played like 24 minutes. And I don't want to say no one's talking about him, but no one is talking about him as taken a step forward in his play the way that they have with other players. And I think that they should be talking about that because I just think he has been such an impact player this year with a ceiling that I think is even higher. I think he's going to be a 30-goal scorer in the NHL at least once. I think he's had a really nice year, and people have acknowledged that he's had a nice year, but I don't think that he's gotten enough credit for the situations he's been put in. Like every time the lines didn't work, he was the guy who got moved to a different line because he didn't play anywhere else. And he did all of these things and still produce the same way he did last year on a team that underperformed. So I liked him there. And the other name I would think about would be like Jeff Malott. Good training camp story, cracked the team with a good camp. He's going to might play 60 games in his first real NHL season. He's not a goal scorer, but he's a good teammate. He works hard. He's a better skater than he gets credit for with his size. I would vote for Laferriere, but if you told me Jeff Malott, I wouldn't be upset with that.
The only pushback I have on Laferriere, and it's probably 100% a function of being around and in the media conversations, is that I don't know how many fans or players are talking about Alex Laferriere.
Yeah.
I feel like Alex Laferriere might be the number one most talked about person in my sphere.
In your sphere? Yeah.
Like I just hear people talk about him all the time. So it's
That's
hard to think of him as unsung. It's not always praise. It's a lot of like, is he a center? Is he not a center?
Yeah.
What should, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, but I'm still hearing his name. I was thinking of Sammy Helenius, which is funny to me that you mentioned Jeff Malott. And part of the reason is that there's a stat, and I believe the team is undefeated when he scores a goal. They have one OT loss, and it's only 5 times, so it's not like it's some sort of
3.
overwhelming.
Oh, you mean like career?
Yes. Yeah. So it's not like this overwhelming, thing, but for a guy who it's a similar path as Malott. For a guy who started the season being told, okay, you finished last year as the 4th line center. You're not going to start the season as the 4th line center. Then he winds up, I don't know how many games he's played, but I feel like it's a lot.
I think he's close to 50.
48
games.
48, yeah. So, I mean, he has come in and
a lot of those games, too, were the games where Jim Hiller said, hey, you're going to play 2 minutes here. Like, he really didn't get the opportunity maybe he should have.
Yeah, he has 5 games of playing less than 5 minutes and a lot of playing less than 10 minutes.
Sure,
35 games of playing less than 10 minutes. But recently, he's scoring, again, not a ton, but when he scores, it's a moment.
Huge goal against Toronto, right?
And is the sort of linchpin of that line. I was looking at lines the other day, on Money Puck because it just tracks what total minutes each of the lines play. And I think this is just a perfect way to encapsulate what kind of year it was. And this is not about awards, but if I asked you, let me hide my laptop from you, to name which lines have had the most minutes together for the entire season.
For the entire season, probably Moore, Deneau, Fogle, and Fiala, Byfield, Laferriere.
So Moore, Deneau, and Fogle is third. What was the other one you said?
Fiala, Byfield, Laferriere.
That is 6th.
Okay.
This is the psychotic part to me.
Yeah.
The number one line in terms of minutes played together is Panarin, Kopitar, and Kempe.
That's insane.
That's crazy. The second one is Moore, Byfield, Laferriere.
Wow.
And the 5th is Malott, Helenius, and Ward.
That's insane.
Like 3 of the top 5 lines.
Most of the guys
are basically DJ Smith lines.
Yeah.
I mean, that
is insane.
That's crazy to me. But again, that line has, and I thought last night against Nashville might have been the most consistent line, maybe not the best line, but, and they play differently than everybody else. So I listen, it's up to the players who pick the unsung.
Another name that, and you mentioned him earlier, maybe Joel Edmondson.
Yeah,
he gets dumped on a lot, I think, by fans. And look, he has his games where he hasn't played his best. But
I feel like he doesn't get talked about at all this year.
You talk about he's leading the team in plus minus among D, career high in assists and points. Kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think he he's clearly well respected in the room. He's a part of that pair with Clark that, gets offensive zone time and seems to play at that end of the ice. I don't know, maybe another one that might get some consideration.
You know what? Just based on the fact that I don't hear anybody talking about him at all. And last year he was one of those good stories, right?
Yeah.
Like Fogle, Edmondson.
A guy that if it wasn't for a couple, might have, yeah.
So I think Edmondson's it's a solid pick there. I would not, because like I said, I just don't hear people talk about him. Dumoulin and Ceci obviously dominate a lot of conversation.
Right.
Doughty and Anderson, Clark's having a great year, and then Joel Edmondson is sort of like the other guy.
The other guy, yeah.
All right, then that's the awards. Might as well at this point talk about Anze Kopitar.
Yeah.
As if we haven't talked about him.
Yeah.
But he will be the Kings nominee for the Masterton. And the Masterton, I mean, it's kind of a joke, but it's a joke because it's kind of true, generally has been the guy that got hurt or overcame adversity award.
Yeah. But
that's not what the award is for.
Right.
It's for dedication.
Right.
And it's hard to imagine a guy on the team who is, Kopitar's played 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, he's played the most games in Kings history. He's got the most points in Kings history.
Yeah.
The amount of, I saw there was a thing on social media where they were asking some of the guys how many signatures they've signed over the years.
Yeah.
I don't even want to,
I think he said 1 million.
Yeah. That's probably low.
Yeah.
The numbers of appearances he's made, pictures he's taken, autographs he's signed, times this season that he shook hands with other guys on the other team. Like, I'm starting to now wrap my mind around, because we're getting so close to the end of the season. I knew at the beginning of the year, okay, it's going to be weird having Anze Kopitar not around.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had a very long conversation with Nick Nixon about it. I talked to Rich Hammond about it. But it is going to be weird.
It's going to be weird.
It's going to be really weird. And he's well deserving of the nominee. Who was the last person that won it that didn't have an adversity to overcome? I
don't know, actually. In his case, it's kind of a lifetime achievement.
Yeah, 100%.
Award. It would be cool to see him win it. I looked back. Dave Taylor won the award so the guy who drafted him won it, and that would be a cool thing if obviously two of the best centers in franchise history both won that award with the connections the two of them have together. If you go on Wikipedia, it actually gives like a bio of why a player was
nice. I was just looking at the NHL, but yeah,
it says like, hey, they won, and here's why they won. In terms of like an actual just like longevity type award, you're probably going back to you're going back to Jaromir Jagr,
right?
15-16,
which is a while ago.
Just kept playing.
Yeah,
he was old and continued to play. And
he was 44
play well.
years old. Yeah,
he had 66 points at age 44, which is ridiculous. But then you look at family member with cancer, had cancer, bipolar disorder, PTSD.
Multiple sclerosis, concussions, fractured vertebrae, post-concussion syndrome. Yeah, we're just reading down the list.
That's typically like what it's become, and those are awesome. Those are awesome stories of people who are able to overcome those kinds of things.
There's a lot of cancer on this list.
Yeah,
legally blind in one eye. Yeah, geez,
it's a lot of really
bacterial meningitis. It's like an episode of House.
Things,
it's crazy,
right? But it also can go to someone who has just done it for that long at such a high level, and I don't know how it could be anyone else on the Kings side, at least. It's awesome to see him add one more notch,
Yeah, and I was talking to my dad about his career the other day, and he sort of summed it up in a way that I had not really thought about previously, and I was like, oh wow, that's right. So not that it necessarily matters, but he was named to the Young Stars game in 2007. 5 All-Star Game appearances, 2-time Stanley Cup champion, 2-time Selke Trophy Award winner, 3-time Lady Byng Award winner, 1-time Marc Messier Leadership Award winner. And imagine if he had been given the MVP award that he should have gotten in 2018.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly impressive career without that.
Led a country to its first Olympics.
Yes, but if they had actually given him that award that he deserved, and now if for whatever reason he wins the Masterton, what an unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, what would somebody have to do to ever eclipse his career in a Kings uniform?
Yeah.
I mean, it would have to be a really, really special player.
You need to land like a generational talent who was racking up, 150. You need a Connor McDavid type player.
Yeah, they'd have to come in at 18 or 19 years old.
Maybe a Matthew
immediately
Schaefer, like
points,
that kind of young player to come in and just
Yeah.
do that for 15 years. It's going to be very, very hard to ever surpass this, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely don't think we'll see it in my lifetime, which is hard to think about because
you got a lot of years left.
Yeah. I mean, knock on wood. But yeah, it's tough. But yeah, so congratulations to Anze Kopitar for being nominated for the Masterton. And I expect on the 4 awards that the media vote on, I expect Clark and Kempe to be the winners.
Yep.
Newcomer, I'm not sure because some people might not feel comfortable.
I would think it'll be Armia or Panarin.
Yes. And then defensive player, I could see it go a lot of different ways. Because defensive player, you can do forward, defenseman or goaltender.
Yeah.
Some people might pick Clark because he's the best defenseman. Some people might pick Forsberg just to throw him a bone.
Yeah.
Some people might pick Kopitar.
Some Kopitar, yeah.
So it'll be very interesting to see. Those ballots go out today, I believe, and I'm sure will be announced at the final home game, right? Isn't that usually how they do it?
They might be, or they might be the last because the team ends on the road,
right,
so it might be on a non-game day where it's a day off announcement somewhere there.
But season's not over yet. The playoff hunt is not over yet. The awards have not been voted on, so still, even though there's only 5 games left, there's still a lot of things to be decided. And even if a playoff spot is earned, that still doesn't settle the seeding issue.
I mean, they're likely going to be wild card 2. Or do you mean like the debate over whether it should be like 1?
No, I mean like where they finish. Like
wild card 2 is most likely.
Sure, but
it's not
first in the Pacific is not out of the question
in play, which is frankly unbelievable.
Yeah,
like there's no other way to describe it. Like the fact that the LA Kings are here with 83 points with 5 games left and have a low but somewhat realistic shot of playing game 1 of the playoffs at home with a couple wins here and there is unbelievable.
They are 4 points out of first place in the Pacific. They are 1 point out of missing the playoffs. I haven't sat down and done the math yet in the last couple of days, but I genuinely think they are just as close to the first overall pick as they are to a Western Conference final run.
Yeah. And you can't say that about too many other.
Yeah, that's the kind of year it is. It's a weird year. Anyway, Zach Dooley, thank you so much for joining me. Kings fans, thanks for watching. And producer Tyler, thanks for producing. And we'll talk to you soon.